Can you walk us through a little bit about this investor briefing that is going live, which again, there'll be some links somewhere around this video, which I don't 100% know where, but there will be links to click on to make sure you can get your seat at the table to watch it for everyone that's watching and listening today. So tell us a little bit more about what people can expect in the coming week from this, what I think is an absolute groundbreaking investor briefing that you've put together.
Welcome to the Exponential Investor Podcast. Want to be a better, smarter, more clued up investor? Well, you've come to the right place. We cover the breakthrough investment ideas you don't hear about in the mainstream to keep you on top of the megatrends and opportunities reshaping our world.
Good morning and welcome to the Exponential Investor Podcast. I'm your editor, Sam Volkring. Now, unless I'm mistaken, and Kit Winder has got different colored hair, grown a little bit older, and I'd arguably say better looking. It's clearly not Kit Winder with me this week. No, instead I've got James Allen, our resident energy expert, in to talk to us about what is, from my recollection, one of the most mental times I think I've ever seen in energy markets, thanks to everything that's kicking off geopolitically. Thank you, James, for joining us today, and welcome to the Exponential Investor Podcast.
Well, thanks for that nice lead, Sam. But yeah, nice to be here. Thanks for allowing me on the show.
I had to take a little dig at Kit, as I tend to do when he's not here. But you work closely with Kit, so you two are I like to think of you guys as the energy dream team, and we get onto something that you guys have been working on pretty closely together for a bit of time now. And Kit and I talked about it last week, a new investor briefing that's I think it's live now, actually, that people can get their name down for, or I think it's going live on Monday, but it's important that everyone get their name down. There will be links appearing either now or below this video or around this video or somewhere near this video that you just need to click on. Make sure you get a spot at the table to watch that investor briefing. And we'll discuss that in a little bit more detail in a minute, James. But I want to get your thoughts on the market right now, right? Because, this week, nickel hit $100,000. The chart it's just vertical. It's trading like a crypto, which for me is quite exciting. Quite fun. I've barely looked at the crypto markets this week. I've just been looking at the commodities markets. So nickel, cobalt, all these really key metals that go into a lot of the stuff that you talk about have been skyrocketing in price. I mean, is this sustainable? And what the hell is going on right now?
Yeah, I don't know if these prices are sustainable. I mean, they're part of a longer term trend, which is up. And the battery metal space has been going up for the last 2-3 years, particularly in the last year. I guess things have really rocketed up. But right now, there's a bit of a liquidity squeeze going on in the nickel market and other markets going on, which is I think the market will settle down. But I think the long term trend for these battery metals certainly is only going one way. I think we have a supply shortage. We have demand projections for all the battery metals because of this, rampant growth in batteries, and there's a bit of a squeeze going on. So yeah, I think if any investors want to get involved, I think should don't wait too long.
I'm curious about how this kind of impacts a lot of the energy transition, because it's sort of if the values and the prices of some of these metals are trending up because there's this increase in demand and there's an only seemingly increasing increase in demand, and there are issues with supply. I mean, how does that impact the energy transition? Do all of a sudden the technologies that are needed to facilitate the energy transition do they become more expensive? Because it's hard to kind of balance out that a lot of these technologies and a lot of the future that we can see, huge money is coming into this space to develop and to grow and to achieve these policies of net zero. But at the same time, people's energy bills are tripling, and the idea of clean, cheap, renewable energy, it's a bit like nuclear fission. It's always another 10 years away, and I guess it's difficult for people that watch our podcast and read our work and just want to invest in this sector. It's hard for them to get a grasp, and even for me, as to when will things actually benefit the end user? When do these energies actually make our bills cheaper, or make the world a more sustainable place? Or is it just that we'll get to net zero, but everything's going to be way more expensive.
I mean, we have to remember that renewable energy is inherently deflationary. I think the marginal cost for these fuels is zero. To get once you've front loaded the investments to build a solar plant or a wind farm, the operational cost is low. They're deflationary. Of course, we have a big investment to make to scale up these technologies. And I think with the crisis we're now seeing in the Ukraine, that we need to really front load these investments right now. So there might be political problems or political pressure right now, but I think all this is showing that we do need to make these investments, and so we might as well make them now. I mean, we're on course to make the investments anyway. I think the answer now is just to front load these investments to kill two birds in one stone, really, to hit our net zero 2050 targets, and also wean ourselves off Russian gas in particular.
I found one of the interesting things about particularly here in the UK, I'm not sure what it's like globally, but I imagine it's a similar story, is that one of the caveats to the sort of race to net zero is that it's subject to the security of supply, which at the moment has never been as important as it is now. I wonder if this turmoil that's kicking off in Russia, and we may then see further turmoil kick off, maybe China invades Taiwan, a whole bunch of different stuff geopolitically could come over the next couple of years. But I think what Russia's probably highlighted is the fact that countries may be looking to become more energy independent in the near term as fast as they can. And I wonder if this whole Russia thing, do you see it as a sort of net positive for the energy transition, or is this going to maybe delay things because the focus will go away a bit from net zero at all costs to actually, it's about energy security first, and then net zero will come later because people just don't want nukes dropped on their heads?
Yeah, no, that's the exact question everyone's trying to answer right now. I think short term, I think we have to get through this winter.
Luckily, there's only 11 days left of the winter, James.
Exactly. And we've been quite lucky, actually, that this winter's been quite mild, really. I mean, if it had been a cold winter, God knows where prices could be right now. So I think there's a short-term issue anyway about how we're going to get through the next, let's say, a couple of winters without weaning ourselves off Russian gas. And I think there could be an answer there in potentially mandating high levels of gas storage, for example, because I think we will need a bit more gas, obviously, from other sources to accommodate. But I think the medium to long-term solution really is as it exactly was beforehand, really. It is we need to get ourselves off natural gas, get ourselves off oil where possible, and really go full steam ahead to hit net zero. I mean the gains we've made over the last 10 years in terms of penetrating the sort of fossil fuel industry have been extraordinary. I mean, renewables have penetrated the energy system faster than any fuel in history. That trajectory has been ongoing for the last 10 years. There are going to be now issues in terms of there'll be a speed bump now, I think, for the next couple of winters, I think, really, if we do cut ourselves off from Russian gas. But I think once those immediate answers are solved, I think it'll be full steam ahead to the answer is in green, renewable, decentralized energy. I think we will start to get those investments needed that front loaded. Obviously, they can't come on stream straight away. But I think in 2 or 3 winters' time, I think we'll have a much even higher penetration of renewables than we do right now. And I think it is really perfectly feasible that in 2 to 3 winters we can be totally cut off from Russian gas. Certainly in Europe, I think it's very optimistic, but I think it really is achievable. And there's just to look at the price trajectory of renewables where we have been and where we're set to go. Really, I think we all know that the solution really is in green energy. I think it's a one way ticket, and I think this has just really pushed us further down the road.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can get to that point where in a couple of winters' time, it's obviously just making it through those couple of winters, and then obviously you did mention something there about the idea of storage and gas storage, and it feels like maximizing the efficiency and the potential to capture the energy while we can, as you said, a bit of a mild winter this year. Hopefully, it's interesting. Had this all sort of kicked off just as winter was starting, I think we might be having very different conversations around it all. But thanks to Putin and China, I believe he decided to delay the attack until after the Winter Olympics had concluded. So maybe we should be thankful for that. I'm not 100% sure. Now, we did say at the top of this we'd be talking about something you've been working on with Kit for some time, talking about a lot of these opportunities and identifying these opportunities, because I'm certainly of the belief, when we see crisis like this, which has clearly been displayed in the market this week, there are always opportunities for investors to play these issues, to look to, capitalize on some of the bigger trends that have short-term fluctuations and volatility. Volatility can be great if you embrace it and understand the risks involved. But can you walk us through a little bit about this investor briefing that is going live, which again, there'll be some links somewhere around this video, which I don't 100% know where, but there will be links to click on to make sure you can get your seat at the table to watch it for everyone that's watching and listening today. So tell us a little bit more about what people can expect in the coming week from this, what I think is an absolute groundbreaking investor briefing that you've put together.
Yeah, right. So green energy is one part of a bigger, sort of larger mega trend, I guess. I think as I said before, over the last 10 years, renewables have penetrated the energy system. So certainly in some parts of Europe, we now have a very green energy system or electricity system. But actually now, armed with this green energy, we can tackle or decarbonize some other sectors of the economy, or really every other sector of the economy. Food, agriculture, industry, farming, buildings. Sort of you name it, now is a time that we can actually really do the sort of deep frontier decarbonisation. And this is creating huge, huge opportunities. Just really where we were with energy, maybe say 5-10 years ago, we're now at the cusp or the threshold of decarbonising other sectors of the economy. And we're seeing trillions of pounds, euros, dollars flood into this so-called, we call it climate tech sector. So climate tech is really set to be the next great big mega trend of our age, really. With it has renewable energy at its heart, but it's certainly not the whole focus. So we have put together an amazing roster of people to talk to who have been working in this market, who know the market inside out, who can really see which way the wind is blowing. And young Kit has interviewing. He's interviewed 5 of the leading experts. You've also been interviewed as well, Sam. I know you've had some incredibly insightful contributions as well, really to help put investors on the right path and know where to look. There's lots of sort of labels thrown around in sort of climate tech, sustainable investing, and it's really quite hard for the average retail investor to really work out what's going on, where to look, where not to look. There's obviously lots of greenwashing, and we've just tried to really cut away from that and really give a very practical-led series of talks and interviews to really hold any watchers' hands, really, to help them on this process of identifying the next great big climate tech investment opportunities.
Yeah, you bang on. There's a lot of misconception, misinformation out there. Like you say, greenwashing. It is hard to pick apart what's real, what's legit, where are the real opportunities, and where the junk and where the garbage is. And it's hard for investors that don't have the time and the connections and the networks and the expertise in this sector to really pick it apart. And so I know that you and Kit have been working really hard on this and sort of, for lack of a better phrase, cutting through the crap that's out there so that investors can get the, direct answers that they seek as to how to best invest and capitalize on this market. And these interviews coming up next week are fantastic. There is one with me. It's pretty good. If everyone listening and watching, you should probably pay attention to that one as well. But you should pay attention to it all because, as James says, this is a bigger trend. It's not just about renewable energy. It's not about just EVs. It's not about the electrification of industry. It's about so much more: transportation, agriculture, food supply, renewables, everything. It's such a big issue that trillions is flowing into this sector. I'm certainly talk about, and I get pretty excited when we start talking about the potential and opportunities around nuclear technologies and the idea of nuclear power and generation. There are always things that get me excited, which we'll be covering. I'll be covering certainly more in Exponential Investor in the coming weeks as well. So there's a lot in this to go forward and look at. And yeah, this investor briefing that is going live, I think it's going live on Monday, I think. Links will continue to appear around this video wherever you're watching or listening. And click on it. make sure you get your seat at the table to watch it. It's 100% free, so you don't have to pay a thing to attend. Just get your name down to make sure that you can watch it and absorb all the information. It's going to run for the full 5 days. As I say, you just need to register to watch it, and I guarantee you will learn stuff. And really, as we said, cut through the crap that's out there and get to understand these really big trends for what they are and the opportunities that are involved. But we have gone on long enough this week, James. We like to keep our Exponential Investor podcast pretty brief. Any closing remarks you'd like to leave our listeners and viewers with this week?
Yeah, just in terms of the markets right now, we're already seeing a response in these corner of the markets right now. Just in the very sad circumstances of the war in Ukraine, clean tech, climate tech stocks are on the move already. I think it's in terrible circumstances, but the markets are responding. I think the markets are working out which way the long-term picture is going. That we need to get ourselves off dirty fossil fuels. We've got these overarching targets to hit in terms of decarbonisation, and I think this is it's come at an unfortunate time, but a good time really for our summit. I think it's quite clear now what needs to be done, and this is an opportunity that really should be grasped by anyone who wants to watch. I think the markets have responded, but there's still a long way to go. This is a long-term mega trend, and I think now is the time to get involved for climate tech.
Indeed, very, very well said. And again, make sure if you're watching, listening to this, you click on the links to get your name down to watch that summit. It will roll on for the full week. If you have not registered, you will not get to view it. So please click on the link. Make sure you do. It is completely free. Get your name down, watch it, enjoy it. I'm sure you will. So thanks again for joining us this week on the Exponential Investor Podcast. Thank you, James, for joining us. We will be back next week with my regular co-editor, Kit Winder. And we will speak to you and see you then. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.